Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for keeping time. Today it's going to be a conversation as we're launching this entire campaign of Vera Kugad. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have changed your passwords in the last 1 month, apart from this table? How many of you have changed your password in the last 1 month? One person. The hand is not going up. It is that essential that we don't take cybersecurity very easy. I'm an investigative journalist, and one of the key elements that I learned in that field is that my password reset is on a weekly basis. I am that risk averse when it gets to cyber. And how many of you sleep when your data is running? By show of hands. See? And some of you have Wi-Fi at home. Cindy, when I was doing hygiene hacking, when they were teaching me, I learned that someone can hack you through a printer that you left running in an office. A printer, as simple as it is. When you sleep in your bedroom and your phone is running and your data is on, some of you have Androids that are easy to crack, others are on iPhone and they think there are no tools that have been designed to break in. You journalists know that we have been trained to break some phones if we need to find information. All that is cybersecurity. How sensitive are you with your cyber? I am married, but I don't know my wife's PIN to her ATM. That is cybersecurity. She doesn't even either know mine. That is cybersecurity. How many of you have shared your ATM card to give it to someone to go to the ATM? Akujire mitwalo ngabiti or busy. By show of hands, like you trust people. That's how bad your data goes. That's how bad your data goes. We're having this conversation in a time and a season where everything is shared online. I was sharing with a colleague there. The generation we are in, someone will post their ticket number, their passport number, their flight seat, and their destination. You become an easy target digitally. And there are some links, in a couple of WhatsApp groups, but I don't speak in those WhatsApp groups. Why? It's part of cybersecurity. I don't know who is in here. Out of the blue, someone in Congo will tell you we are selling gold, and there is a lot of risk that is around us today, and we're not paying attention. And that's why we are having this conversation, friends. Today, we are launching something that is very close to our heart. That is cybersecurity. We are in a world of AI. A year ago, a fool got my voice and ran it through 11 labs and ran a campaign online. People were calling me, Chamagiro, did you say this? I said, which one? If we didn't have police that has tools that can decipher an AI wording and voicing, maybe I would be in jail today. But because I was alert, the moment they sent me the clip, I ran it through 11 labs. So all this is cybersecurity. Kubeda kugad. Some of you sleep with your phones in the bedroom. I have learned not to sleep with my phone in the bedroom. It stays on the other side, I stay on this side. That is cybersecurity. Because people can hear whatever you're doing in your bedroom, even when you switch off your phone. I didn't know that until I was in China for my studies, that the phone can be switched off but can still listen. That's how bad it is. That is cybersecurity. We have our mothers, our uncles, our judges who have their phones, and for them they think because they have, the second generation of smartphones, maybe they are not prone to this. How many of you have been called by your mother and banko video and by show of hands? See? Cybersecurity. When we're buying our parents' phones, do we take time to onboard them? My mother is very funny. Told me, Andy, waliwo abankubidde baŋŋambye empangudde faani asike mama weetabye mu mpaka zonna naye bankubidde ne baŋŋamba faani nginone mu Kampala. And I was like, don't go, nze mpereze ennamba yaabwe mbanoonye ngireete. That is cybersecurity. Do you have these conversations at home? The parents that are here, how much does your child consume in terms of data? Do you know what they watch? My daughter Zaza made 6 years today. I saw her the other day watching a girl twerking. I said, "Bichi byola baby ompa." I went to the settings to change because I'm alert. All that is being conscious with what we consume online. It goes beyond banking, it goes beyond finance, it goes beyond your data. It is something interwoven within our society, and we need to be very careful. So friends, I was giving you that jazz so that you guys can get done with your breakfast, muchama. Now let's all stand up and we have the national anthem sounded. Thank you. Now, in a very special way, ladies and gentlemen, officially, we have begun. My name is Andrew Chamagero. I serve the nation in one way or the other, and we are very gratified to have you today. Please stand to your neighbor and welcome your neighbor. Muchama. Hey. We are here, Muchama, because Nita, you've made this. It's quite very compelling. I'm a typical Muntua 1C. Whatever I think, I look at how it's going down to the very last mile of our ground. Allow me, as we're here today, looking and thinking about cybersecurity, to think about the Good Samaritan. It is said that the Good Samaritan equally needs resources so that he can be very resourceful and helpful to those he finds on the way to Damascus. How much do we have in terms of resources and knowledge to protect our communities? Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome the representative of the Personal Data Protection Office, Mr. Paul Kaketo, to give us the welcoming remarks. Let's clap for him. Muchama.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Good morning to you all, our distinguished guests, members of the press, my colleagues from NITA and PDPO, and everyone else. Welcome to this great morning. Thank you very much, Andrew Muntuawansi, for ably breaking down this message for the Muntuawansi, because every one of us, however sophisticated you may be, you're actually Muntuawansi in one way or another. I'd like to start by extending our thanks to you all, first of all, for honoring our invitation. Normally, early morning engagements are tricky, but I'm glad that we have a full room and you really come here to celebrate with us this milestone that we're kicking off. On behalf of the National Information Technology Authority and the Personal Data Protection Office, I take this moment to welcome you to this event as we kick off a nationwide awareness campaign relating to cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy. Indeed, these are very critical topics for all of us. Someone may be out there and they feel these are matters that don't concern them. However, even from the remarks by Andrew, these are indeed topics that relate to all of us. Be it visiting a hospital, we all know, when you get there, you fill out a form, your names, your date of birth, maybe your insurance provider, your phone number. You're giving away personal information. When you sign up your child for a school, you register them with all their details and at times even the birth certificate, where you stay. So every day in one way or another, you're giving away lots of personal information, but also in the business setting. Companies have volumes of data, and without cybersecurity, their defenses for this data are the lowest. So these are topics that relate to all of us in one way or another. Imagine you make a mobile money payment. You'll insert your PIN, your money will be transacted. But imagine that PIN, someone else has access to it. They may do transactions on your behalf that you hardly know about. Or imagine you apply for a job. We all know that in the CV you put lots of personal data. And that is information that can ably define you, describe you, and by reading a CV, someone will be knowing you. And actually, some people even attach photos to those CVs. But imagine 2 months down the road, you're on the street buying a snack, and it's wrapped in your CV. How would you feel? So the companies that we give our personal data must actually ensure that they protect it. If it's no longer useful for the purpose for which it was collected, let them guard it safely or destroy it. So today, this conversation, we need to keep it as engaging as possible, because these 3 subjects, cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy, relate to all of us. Your data is collected, but you too collect other people's data. When I take a selfie with you, I've taken a piece of your data. So depending on how I utilize it, I may actually breach a number of laws and also breach the trust you had with me. So members, today let's keep this discussion very engaging. Let's learn from each other. Let us relate everything that's discussed to our personal lives, because these are things that we live with 360 degrees. With those few remarks, I take this honor to once again thank you for being here with us, for kicking off this journey with us, and I look forward to having all of you run to the end with us, and to ensure that this message reaches every Ugandan, whether the youth, the children, the parents, the senior citizens, the business owners, every single community. On our side, we commit to deliver this message in the languages they understand, in the simplest of terms, and also via the channels that they can access. Thank you very much. I would like to also take this opportunity to invite the Director of Information Security at the National Information Technology Authority to give us his remarks and also launch this campaign. Thank you very much.
Very good morning, everyone. I had only one response. Is it a formality? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you? Okay, now that confirms that the breakfast has sunk in. I was a bit scared when I came on podium, because when Paul was standing, I felt he should have been down here for the microphone to be closer to him, but I think it's perfectly set for me. My name is Arnold Mangeni, Director for Information Security at the National Information Technology Authority, representing the Executive Director on this. Our distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all once again, and welcome to this monumental launch of an awareness campaign that has been dubbed as Vera Kugad, both offline and online. And the emphasis of offline and online is for the message to sink in that whatever it is that we are going to share during the campaign is not only applicable to while you are online, but some of the tactics you can use even when you are offline. NITA has been at the forefront of digital transformation, and in that we have been able to build a number of technology services and platforms that are very helpful for the transformation of service delivery within government. But of course, one of the things that we learn from that is that those investments are actually, in a way, very helpful in that they have connected us to good things like services, jobs, amongst others, but also they expose us to cybersecurity and data privacy risks. So we need to be mindful as we use those technologies to ensure that we harness the positives and avoid the negatives. I like the examples that Andrew was giving of trying to make it come to the ground for all of us to quickly understand that sometimes when we talk about these cybersecurity risks and data privacy, we might think that it's so far-fetched away from us, but it actually is closer than we might think. And of course, we did an IT survey as NITA, and of course the outcome is worrying, but of course not all hope is lost. The realization was that 48.8% of people are aware of cybersecurity risks, while only 13.6% are aware of data protection and privacy-related risks. Now, awareness is the start, but practices after awareness are what matter the most. And the examples were very interesting. We all know how susceptible our technology is to compromise, especially around passwords, but we never change the passwords. And we have been very honest. When they asked the question, we were honest and said we don't. So as part of this, let's pledge and commit that we are going to have good hygiene when it comes to management of passwords and credentials that we use for access to our digital platforms. This campaign is very important. It isn't about just the messages that we are going to, there's going to be banners, there's going to be flyers, there's going to be clips and everything. It's not about just that. It's about us building a culture that is going to enable us be responsible as we use technology. I keep actually relating to when it comes to parenting, relating to the physical world. At the moment, of course, we had a challenge when COVID came in that we had to accelerate our going online in many ways, including our learners or the children under our care. And majority of them ended up getting as many accounts for social platforms as possible. Some are on TikTok, some are on Snapchat, amongst others. But we as parents, all we did, but of course I understand because the situation wasn't leaving anyone very sane, we threw them the devices and connected them onto the internet, and we left it at that. So it was up to them to navigate that, okay, between this time and this time I will do Zoom. After this time, it's my free time. I can Snapchat, I can, things like that. But if you relate it to the physical world, if any of us had a young one that is interested in, let's say, rafting, I believe none of us would just buy a raft, give it to them, and tell them, you know what, find the nearest water stream and you practice. You would want them to go through training, you want them to go through guidance so that they can raft in a way that is safe. The same should be applied to technology. We shouldn't just expose the children to technology and think it's only positives, because we all know there are negatives. When it comes to some of the safest technologies when it comes to online are those that relate to crypto. But there are two things that are very important in every one of those people that are online in the crypto world. There's what they call a vault, and then there's what they call a wallet. Both are protected, not very easy for anyone to break into, but there's a reason why there is a vault and a wallet. So we should actually take through the same practices, and as we're building a culture, if you have, for example, a lot of money, don't put everything online. Just have sufficient for you to transact. Why would you have, let's say, 10 million shillings on mobile money when you don't need it? Move some of it to a safer place, like the bank, and stay with a little on the phone. Because we know these phones can be snatched, and anything can happen after that. And of course, if you are good readers of the police crime reports, it's called the annual crime and road safety report, it shows that there's been a shift in terms of where crime happens, especially those that have financial benefits. Previously, it was more in the physical world, but now things are more in the digital world. So we need to be mindful that there's been a shift. And of course, it doesn't mean that the perpetrators are going to be within reach. Sometimes they are away from you, but they can cause harm in a way that, of course, you will lose and regret. So the campaign is very important for us as a way of setting a foundation of building a culture that will enable us be responsible users of internet and technologies that are related as we move towards safely utilizing the digital spaces that we've been given. This campaign is going to run for a couple of months, and we hope that we'll be able to reach at least 70% of the population so that we can emphasize the need to be responsible as we protect our own assets as well as our own freedoms and privacies. I see this from a number of parents, especially around privacy, where we take pictures of our children and everything, and then we put them on our Instagram, Facebook, and the likes, which is a violation of their privacy. Because I can assure you, if someone offered you a billboard space, you wouldn't offer a picture of your family to be put on the billboard. But what you're doing actually is a bit worse, because you're exposing it to very many eyes than you intend. So let's be responsible to safeguard the privacy of even those that are under our care, so that we uphold what the expectations and requirements are in the law. So to our distinguished stakeholders, the media, this campaign can't be without you. So we hope that we are going to partner through this so that the message can go far and wide, and we realize the impact that we intend, because we can't do much if we don't work with the media. So we have our hope and trust in you and in the partnership that we're going to create to ensure that we reach every home, every school, every community as deep and as wide as possible, so that we can have a successful campaign. So having said that, of course, I would like to thank you all once again for coming, and to wish you all the best as we be on guard, as we kubera ku guard online and offline. Thank you very much.
Friends, let's clap for the director once again. I like the rafting analogy. So he's going to launch this at this time. So for the fourth estate, those who want the Kodak moment is here. This is the multi-million-dollar moment, where he is going to launch it officially. Vera Kugad. So the countdown can start. Does he use another hand? That's the hand. Okay. Production needs to play this countdown. This is the patience you need when you're online. That's what the director is actually, exemplifying here. That you need to be patient. There we go.
Access granted.
Initialization confirmed.
Avanti.
You have initiated the launch of the nationwide digital cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy awareness campaign. Auto launch will proceed in
Let's give it a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. We have officially launched Beda Kugad. Let's give it a round of applause. Congratulations, Director. Thank you so much. That is how it's going to be. You can envision this, those of you with your phones where you need to use a thumb to open your phone. They were showing you how it works out on the back end. Allow me at this juncture to have a panel here. I'm going to welcome Ms. Geraldine Mugumia, the risk analyst from NITA-U. And we shall have Mr. Johnson Tumusime, the manager governance and risk, NITA-U. And Mr. Henry Chimera, the team leader, Consent Uganda, to come up here. We're going to have a panel discussion, and after I ask a few questions here and there, the rest are going to come from you, the fourth estate, because we're here so that we're in position to launch, that we are big and better and much more aware. Please. So to those that are joining us online, I understand we have those that are watching online. This is entirely about the nationwide digital cyber protection and privacy campaign, Beda Kugad. We talk a lot about the data, the security, but privacy is another big element. I want to start off with Mr. Johnson. Many organizations ranging from school, health facilities, financials and telecom operators, among others, they're increasingly collecting and processing personal data. Mr. Tumusime, as a cyber security expert, as well as a data protection officer at such a leading agency, how do you describe the privacy threat landscapes? And if you may, what steps should organizations take to protect personal data they already possess?
Thank you very much, Moderator, for those questions. So, as we all know, the cybersecurity landscape has really evolved right now. Before we used to talk about cybersecurity, privacy wasn't a thing, but in the recent years, privacy has actually come out to be something that we need to consider. So some of the, of course, with the current automation of services, you all know that schools are going online. Hospitals have gone online. We have things like telehealth. There's been need, as we evolve into the digital space, there's been need for us to consider that as we become more digitized using the e-services, the need for privacy and cybersecurity also became a subject matter that we need to discuss. So because of this, remember, as you automate, the kinds of threats that you face as an entity, as an individual, surpass the boundaries of Uganda. So that's why this has become very critical, that right now, just in the examples you gave, you may find the threat to your relative was not even coming from Uganda itself. It could have been coming from maybe a country outside. So it's borderless, and these are all the things that we get with technology. As we use it to grow, it also comes with these challenges. So these initiatives are here to help us. So in terms of how do we as organizations protect ourselves, I think one of the things that we can adopt is to have privacy by design as we come up with these initiatives to improve maybe our education systems, our health systems. Let's also design these initiatives considering privacy. We also need to be wary of things like things that are too good to be true. Someone is calling you, offering you a gift. These are the gimmicks or the tricks they use to lower you into being submissive. And also the other, maybe last but not least, is heavy investment in cybersecurity. This particular initiative by NITA does not come cheap. Yeah. So we understand that as we grow, we need to invest and be. You see, it's an awareness campaign. There's no technology, but without this kind of awareness, people will not know, and the citizens will be making grave mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Allow me to be on your guard. For purposes of pictures, you will use that seat. Nkubere ku guard one. Okay. I love the element that you bring of the gimmicks and all when it gets to money and how the threats are real. Maybe just to reach out to you, Geraldine. All of us live in interconnected and interactive world. Could you share a time where you felt your personal privacy was invaded as a woman, as a tech expert, where you felt like someone was trying to get into you?
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, thank you, Andrew, for that question. So, I've been a tech person when I was.
Can we have this more amplified?
Apologies, I have a bit of a cold, so that's much better.
That's all right.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew, for that question. So, in terms of, I've been a techie person from where I've always loved technology from when I was young. But so I've always been curious, and I know. So when it comes to about invasion of privacy, maybe one time I would say I was in a taxi, so I was on my phone, and then this person was seated next to me. I was busy minding my own business, but he kept looking into my phone. So at first I didn't mind it, but it created that bit. It happened. That was the first time it was happening. But then it happened about 3 more times. So it kind of put me in that position of like, why do you keep trying to look into my phone? You have your own phone. What's speaking your interest? Ofachi. So that's also in terms of privacy. It sort of ticked my mind about that of like, okay, maybe it all goes back if I want to do something, because I was chatting, it was a private chat. So maybe for certain things, we need to keep away from some public places and stay away from our phones until you reach where you're comfortable enough to have your private conversations. Yeah.
Henry, you hear such a narrative. Geraldine has the muscle of patience to wait until when she reaches her destination to send a chat. Henry, would you walk us through what happened to you when someone was invading your privacy? I hope it's not a land matter, but give it a shot, Henry.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew, and colleagues, consumers. We are at a ticking time bomb, all of us. And I always, I'm saying it still under the private data protection office engagement. I had just finished facilitating a town hall, and somebody calls me, like one of the examples you had given, when I was talking about protecting self, and we're in Mobende, and one says, "You have won." And I said, but I had not even rested the microphone, and I said, after the session, I put down the mic, and somebody called me, Owange Mwami Kimera, owangudde ssente, teekamu bw'oti pin. And I said, but I've just been telling people about this less than 5 minutes.
The audacity.
And I said, but where do you get the guts?
Yeah.
If I'm knowledgeable and I've been facilitating a town hall, a consumer discussion on how to safeguard ourselves, and here you are, within a few minutes you're enticing
You're trying
me,
the facilitator.
trying the facilitator. And I said, what the hell is this? Then I just imagine myself, there are millions like me. Whether you are knowledgeable, you're a techno-savvy person, but you'll find that somebody who has not even ever engineered anything will come and hit you hard with technology. And this is what we are facing today.
I didn't get your response. How did you respond to this chap on the phone?
No, I first told
Because you're dumbfounded, you can't speak about that.
I asked him, are you in Mubende? We were in Simon's Hall. Are you here in Mubende? Where the buses, but there is a hall there, very popular. Are you in Mubende? He said, no, in Kampala. How can you, I told him in Uga, ogezaako otya okunfera nga byenva okusomesa.
That's what we needed.
And the guy just gave me a blockbuster word and hung. But I couldn't. Then one day still, as I was doing my work, jogging on Sunday at Shimoni, if you know, in Chitichifumba, and somebody calls me. Kimera, nze Haji, nkubye kuva mu UCC. Consent UCC ekola ku Monday na Lwakutaano ku ssaawa emu n'eddakiika na mutaano ez'okumakya. You see, these are issues that are very key. And why I'm going a little, why Andrew I'm going a little, I just, better kugadi, I just want colleagues, we add another thing. Tensana fwe tambule galudde. Omwana takuyisaamu eggaali. Beera ku gaadi, ensana ffe etambula egaludde, omwana takuyisaamu ki? Eggaali. This will go, because those are the words that people today are using. And why am I saying this and taking it a little longer? At the consumer center, every day we harvest, and we are grateful, and I'm very proud when I'm talking about this. We harvest consumer complaints. We are registered with the Data Protection Office, and we follow all the protocols. But the biggest amount, the highest amount of complaints that we receive are about fraud and customer care. And it is all about data, because when there is no care, you can leave your data and walk away in annoyance, and everybody will pick it up.
And Mr. Tumsime, that's where I want to pick you up from. The world hates vacuum. It doesn't matter whether I'm informed or I'm not informed. How deep does this go? You used the word in your preamble answer. You said it's borderless. Me being on social media, knowing how to load my data, does it mean I'm cyber savvy when it gets to protection, when it gets to privacy? How deep do I need to know to be alert?
Thank you very much, Andrew, for that question. I'll pick up from what Mr. Shimea mentioned. Just from his examples, the simplicity that these people use is like small things. But you can see they're picking from the lack of knowledge. For instance, of someone, Kati Yamani when UCC works Monday to what?
To Friday, yes.
Now, Judge Erimucha Tamani UCC, Amani UCC, where in Tamani that UCC doesn't work on a Sunday. So this will take advantage of the lack of knowledge of anyone. So just because you're on social media, on TikTok, doesn't make you a techie person. There are certain gaps that you have ordinarily that if we do not train you, if we don't reach out, as NITA we have different websites, social media pages where we actually put out these advisories. We try to reach as much as possible, and we hope that this particular campaign is going to help us reach more people. So from just these examples, these are simple things, but he may not, because he's knowledgeable and he's interacted with Abafere before, but any other person wouldn't know. They're excited by very, very small things. So what I would advise from your question is that before you do anything, think before you act. Don't get excited as a citizen, as a government employee, as a person in private sector, because your exposure as a person with all these resources exposes your organization, exposes you as an individual. So think before you act. Anything you're going to do online that involves maybe access to a system, access to your sharing anything private, think before you act and don't get excited. The other thing I would advise is to use proper authentication methods. There are passwords that we can complicate our passwords. We have password managers. We have what we call two-factor authentication, whereby you have a password. I think most of us use it these days for banks. You have a password, you log into your bank. Beyond the password, they send you an OTP. Then you put in the OTP. So these are some of the things that we can employ to make sure we are safe. Maybe last but not least, I would encourage everyone to know their rights. Mr. Chimea knew his rights. He knew that there are certain things that you cannot ask him to do. As UCC, so we empower people and citizens to come to basically be on the lookout for all these government initiatives and be able to know what their rights are. The personal data, the Act on Personal Data and Privacy gives all of us certain rights to decide what NITA, all these entities, government, NITA can do with our data.
On that, Msime, do you mind going deep in what they call cookies? We see these things coming. You go on a website and they say, accept all cookies. I always reject cookies. At times, they tell me, I choose a few and I refuse the rest of the cookies.
Yeah. So cookies, in a simple term...
And I want you to match them with the terms and condition. Because oluzungu lubalungi, the font is very small, you tick yes and
In most cases, of course, with the regulations coming up, some websites now, because of complaints and what, have tried to backward options. They can ask you to choose what is mandatory and leave whatever is not mandatory. But of course, usually we are in a hurry. That's why I said think. We're in a hurry to just accept so many things. So there are so many hidden gimmicks in these terms and references. But what cookies do is you're basically allowing the website to install some sort of maybe plugin that picks data, and this information they use it for advertisement. That's why you can go on a site today and probably you're just researching about maybe how to buy a car, maybe just maybe
let's use
researching about
how to win elections in Uganda.
Exactly.
In NEC.
Yes. Then the next day you're getting emails on how to hack the electoral commission system. This information is picked from those things. So
the cookies
are designed for the website that you're accessing to pick information from within your browser to know more information about you. So some of them, of course, you cannot access services without accepting, but some of them some of them allow you to proceed. But they also you can I would empower everyone to, before you accept, they are permission, they can allow you to go in, disable some of the ones that are not necessary, and be able to access what you want to access.
Terms and conditions.
Yes. The terms and conditions, of course, these are legal jargons in most cases that most of us do not really get to read. What we would empower, for instance, if you're going to share any personal data, make sure that the site you're dealing with has what you call a privacy notice. The privacy notice will describe what they are going to use with your data. So when you put your name, they'll tell you, okay, we shall be able to do A, B, C, D with that. So besides the terms and conditions, look for the privacy notice. That will tell you that once you give them their data, this is what they're going to use it. So it is key. That's why I say go slow when you're online. It is key that you read, you understand. Maybe to everyone who's here today, I want you to think of it this way. How would you feel before you upload a picture, any content online? Think about the impact of this, finding this printed somewhere in Nasa Road. How would you feel before you actually act?
I'm at police. I've reported that fool for breaching my rights. and taking my picture without my consent. Geraldine, NITA-U has invested heavily into this cyber protection for the last decades, and there has been quite a lot of tremendous work for the 15 years NITA-U has been here. But what does the landscape look like in terms of cyber attacks when we start to look at the entire complicities and the depth of the landscape? How does it look like today? Is it scaring? Is it something we should be worried about? Or is it something we can go to bed and we say, Muchama, they are protecting us?
Okay, thank you, Andrew, for that question. So I'll start off with how far we have come from.
Is your mic on, please?
Yes. So how far we have come from. NITA has, in collaboration with other agencies, has created an enabling environment. So we have in place mechanisms and initiatives to help with cybersecurity. For example, go back 2014, through Ministry of ICT, we came up with the National Information Security Strategy. So this gave birth to now the cybercrime unit that's under Uganda Police Force. We also have the National Computer Emergency Response Team, which is under NITA. We have a Directorate for Information Security that is responsible for cybersecurity for the country. So, and we also have a number of other policies that are supposed to help organizations, but it trickles down to these organizations that develop some of the systems that are going to turn into e-services for their citizens. So there is security embedded in that. I'll pick on Johnson's principle of privacy in design, but you also have security by design. So whatever system any organization is coming up with that's going to be interfacing with citizens, it has to have that principle of security from the start. So now, having all these different components in place within the for cybersecurity, we have been able now, us through the Directorate of Information Security, through the National SAT, we're able to see different threats that are within Ugandan space. And some of the things that we have been seeing is usually it's around digital fraud, online scams, phishing emails. So phishing emails is when someone sends you a very enticing email and asking for certain personal information of yours. It could be banking information, and then before you know it, your account has been taken over. Even phishing emails through that certain, I'll say influencers or even top people, they've had their accounts taken over, and that leads to impersonation. So you have people being extorted with money using those, high top officials' accounts. So even in terms of, we have also seen the bit on malicious software. This usually is also embedded within those phishing emails that I was talking about. They put an attachment. So if you're using your phone, your laptop, you download that attachment, someone will get some unauthorized access through that. So those are some of the things that we have seen. Now, what are we doing? Through the National SAT, when we see such things, we break down the language. So for example, if you see a phishing email, we break it down. What do you need to look out for? From the subject, from the sender's email, verify. Even just pick up the phone. If it's saying the email is coming from Andrew, pick up the phone and call Andrew. Andrew, did you send me this email? Simple, something simple as that, just to verify that actually that email came from Andrew. So through that, we are trying to break down that this is what we are seeing. So be on the lookout for this in terms of phishing email.
I love that when you say what you're doing for us. Your internet is very fast, but you're telling us to be very slow when we're responding to this. So I'm trying to find a balance on this. So help me God. Henry, when you listen to this conversation, you actually interact with quite a lot more of the consumers. How best can we leverage on this campaign of Beda Kogadi in terms of accelerating behavior change if we need a countrymen to change, and what an orthodox ways can we make it go deeper than the usual? Because we are here, we are speaking English, the S is on, food is flowing, drinks are flowing. But that is not so much to meet the person at the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. And I'm going to bring the experiences that we have used. We decided, and what I'm bringing it from food safety. Those of you who have seen our campaigns where we say, if it is not safe, it is not food. And this is where all my colleagues' shirts are, if not safe. So if the data is not safe, it's not good data for you. Beera ku gaadi, tambula ng'ogaludde kubanga ensanafu is already galudde. So I'm going to share what we have done in Western. We started by, when we were rolling out a consumer engagement for socio-economic transformation, we targeted to train 15 media personnel in 5 cities. But we were not getting down and the message wasn't rolling. Then we asked ourselves, the 10 commandments say, don't kill. And everybody goes voluntarily to church or institutions of religion. So we went to the church leaders and we said, somewhere in your commandments there is don't kill. But with food, if you serve bad food, the consumers might die or they get food poisoning. Mm-hmm. So why don't you preach food safety every Sunday? Because you need healthy Christians, Muslims, you know, saved again, born again, Pentecostal. Then they said, but we do not understand this. Then we had to go teaching the religious leaders the norms of food. Food is a culture, food is everything, food is a gathering. Now with this, I think we need to bring it down to tell, as we are asking for teeth, if we do not guard that data, you will not get teeth. So what we did, I will give you the example in Fort Portal. All the churches that day on Sunday, these days church put everything on the screen.
Yes.
We put there the photographs of food dried on tarmac and told them what comes out if you dry food on tarmac. You get heavy metals, petroleum is taken in.
Yep.
And people say, but we didn't know. And then they say, no, thou shalt not kill. Do you know you're killing your customers if you are direct food? Mm-hmm. So you're all killers and sinners. So this is the same thing we would love to see Ugandans and consumers on a daily basis. We go to religious institution voluntarily. Mm-hmm. Then those who are coming from Kasese, I'll give you, in Kasese, there is what they call Arsenal's Fan Club. It has 2,000 members. That's where we went and we talked to them, and as you're eating Chikomando, think about your safety.
It had to be Arsenal somewhere.
Yes. So after telling them it went down, then we went to the seminaries, but I will give you the last one, which is a killer.
Take me there.
We, every day in our villages, there are MCs who are also journalists.
I'm actually an MC and I'm actually working now.
But they address congregations in a week that more than 5,000.
Correct.
They will talk of a Mumbwa, this Mumbwa does this. But just imagine MCs in Uganda at every function. Bera kugadi, ensana fetambule galude kadata bajakabba. It will be down every day. Somebody will. That's what we did, and it is. Then we started something we call the Media League. All the journalists, I don't know them, but we have more than 200 journalists. In West Nile, I've not met them there, but we just got them together. How can we send this message across? And we meet them on a monthly basis. And the message goes They are from different radios, they're from different social media platforms, and they are sending out the message. I trust most of you have seen the food safety messages are on the rise now, even at the local level. That is how we are doing to push it across. So I think with such an initiatives, we can roll out the message, and the last mile of the consumer will get to know that Bera Kogadi is all about your life and death. Because data, digital, cyber is a daily thing. We wake up, we pick our phones, we start. We are mortgaging ourselves. I always tell people, and I would like to tell you the way you said that your mother said, I've won a fan. I ask people when I'm out in the community, how can you go and they tell you that you have won a marathon when you have never run even 10 meters? This is what I ask them. How can you win a marathon? And they say, bring this and this, that you have won a marathon, you're a gold, you're chip rotate. When you have not even run in your compound. And that's when the message sinks. Hey. So we need to use simple language.
Thank you.
Language that touches day-to-day aspects.
Thank you so much, Henry. Let's clap for him, Henry, there. I love the fact that you went to the very grassroots. Dear director, we need to find the association of MCs at funerals. You have no idea, director, but these guys have power. They direct who is going to eat, when you're going to eat, and because it's quite very emotional, messages sink in far better. Even wedding MCs can be clustered as well, that the message reaches farther. Coming to you, Tumsime, in the age where people are so much on social media, they are on Twitter, they are on X, they are on Quartus, they are on Reddit. I found 7 Ugandans on Reddit, very active. I was very shocked. And I find most directors on Quartus. But sometimes the data is out there. I want to ask you, as an expert, how best can we get ourselves against the rising AI and misuse of images and impersonation? How do we get ourselves against that?
Thank you, Andrew. Now, of course, one of the strategies we can employ as individuals is there's a concept called data minimization. So this would mean that you only share what is necessary. So, for instance,
define necessary.
So for instance, okay, I'll use. Let me use a school. You're registering your child for school, and the school gives you a form. So the school should make sure the only data they're getting from you is what is necessary for you to be able to register your child within the school. They shouldn't ask you about the child's aunties, your grandfather. The father, the mother are the key primary guardians for the parent.
Correct.
So that would be an example of what we call data minimization. Even when it comes to the bank, for instance, if you ask for my NIN, why ask for my passport details? Why ask for my marriage status? Is it necessary? Actually, it has to be necessary. Yeah. So one of the concepts we can employ, even us on social media, is data minimization. Whatever is not relevant, do not put it there. Do not even share it. Share what you feel is actually necessary, because it can be misused. I've seen most of the parents these days, because of excitement, sometimes you're sharing images of your children. When it comes to AI, there's technology called deepfakes.
Yes.
Where I can basically get your image. I think there's one video that is trending of journalists talking about advertising. I've seen them on Facebook a lot. Advertising these money. How do they call them?
The schemes.
The schemes. Yes, you find yourself speaking, and you actually never.
I saw a fool, by the way. I was in Bangkok and someone sends me an advert and tells me, so Chamagyo, tell me about this thing. And this is a very good guy. He's a commissioner. I'm like, what are you saying? And he sends me this video of me seated in a very affluent ambience.
Yeah.
I'm telling them, you know, when you get to this crypto,
Yes.
I'm like, bro, I'm not even on any crypto.
Yes.
This is not me.
Yeah.
But even then, to debunk that among my peers, 7 were already scammed on that.
Exactly. So how do you take yourself from that? Because now you know all these things are there, AI is there, and they're able to basically do a live video of you speaking, and someone will see. So some of the kinds of awareness we're giving out is because, for instance, we can help you differentiate between what is a deep fake and what is not. All these resources are there. So we need to individually commit to learning, because with these growing trends in technology, today it's AI, tomorrow it will be something else, there's blockchain. We don't know what's coming in next year or the other year. We just need to be constantly learning and knowing how do we as individuals protect ourselves. That concept of deepfake is basically blowing the world. It is one of the factors that influenced, for instance, the US election.
There were, yes.
Yes. So all those are there. So key thing is make sure you're learning every day. In the cyberspace, there's nothing as absolute security. Actually, there's a saying that you're only safe if you're dead.
But as long as you're still alive?
As long as you're still alive, as long as you're using anything to do with technology. In forensics, we know that there's always a digital footprint. Even if you delete evidence, when you delete a picture, even if you send these WhatsApps where you're doing disappearing messages,
We'll find you.
we can always find something that, it may not be the particular image, but I can have some sort of description that ties the image to you. What?
To your phone.
So there's nothing like absolute safety. You just have to be conscious all the time and be deliberate about learning that as I interact with AI. Most of us are using so many AI platforms. These AI platforms are built on the data that we give them. Basically, it's what you feed them. For instance, if I got a report today from maybe NITA or Ministry of Finance, the whole budget, and put it on AI, someone in the US will ask for the budget of Uganda, and they will use that budget that you actually fed to AI. So as government, we are coming up with some sort of responsible use on AI, and some of the interventions on knowledge we're going to be sharing is going to be on how, as you interact with these AI tools, with the automation, how do you as citizens and how do organizations, churches, you talked about the MC associations, how do you individually, how do you protect yourself, and how do you educate the people that you preach to? Yeah.
Geraldine, he speaks a lot about being conscious with online and understanding where the landscape is. This is my final question before we come to the plenary. Where does this leave us as a third world country, yet the rest of the world is supersonically flying, and we on our end, the conversation sounds to be a lot more risk averse, like Beta Kugad, it's a lot of risk aversion. On the contrary, with innovation, how do we balance the two? Where Nita, you said be alert, but then it does not slow down my innovation in a space where a 14-year-old in China or Singapore, Malaysia is running a whole marathon of his innovation, and the one in Uganda is always like Beda Kugadi. So he innovates and poses, and he innovates and then poses. How do you balance that?
So in terms of yes, when it comes to the bit of innovation, so here is where now the bit of collaboration comes in. It's important that when it comes to cyber, the bit that we have this bit in cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. So when it comes to innovation, you shouldn't stop. Yes, you're telling you Vera could guard, but I mean, keep doing. Don't stop, but at least have that caution of like, whatever I'm coming up with, I need to be mindful of like, what data am I using? Why now from the principle of data minimization? How does that fit into the innovation process? Don't stop. Continue what you're doing, but at least be mindful of the basics, of the best practices as you're working on whatever innovation you're coming up with. But then also, I want to go back still with the bit on collaboration. So whatever, if be it private sector, be government, when we are funding or we are pushing for certain innovations, be it in health, in IT, in agriculture, innovation, let's also have that bit of telling them about cybersecurity. They put it into consideration when they're coming up with their innovations. Yeah.
Friends, let's clap for the panelists here. Let's clap for them. Okay, when you're clapping, you don't need to be on the guard. We should go all through. Let's clap for them, comrades. This is a revolution we are leading here. Now the floor is open. I'm requesting one of the NITAU member to get the microphone to roam around the room. You raise your hand, you ask a question, your name and the media house where you're from, or whatever affiliation you're from, and then we'll be in position. We'll be in position to respond to those queries. Where's the mic? Where is the mic? Okay. By show of hands, who has questions? Fourth estate, this is for you. There is one from NBS. There is another there. The microphone is coming to you. And you let us know who the question is going to. So we have Mr. Tumsime, we have Henry, and we have Geraldine. Kindly switch it at the bottom. Thank you. At the bottom.
Mic check. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. My name is Adrian Bali Wanika. I work with Vision Group. Mine is a general question. I think I heard it earlier from my Mr. Kaketo, if I remember very well. If I remember very well, about protecting those that we are in charge of. I think this includes our children who are young. I have seen several parents posting pictures of their young ones on internet and all over. I have not understood that. I actually heard that it's against the law, it's breaching their privacy. I do not understand it as a journalist. And you know, an ignorant journalist is an ignorant society. So I want to be enlightened on that specific issue. And how do we embrace such a scenario as a journalist and also as a parent? Thank you.
All right, let's get another question so that we respond to them as a cluster.
Good morning, ladies
Good
and
morning.
gentlemen. My name is Richard Chinto from the Inspector Media. My question goes to Mr. Chimera. You said among the complaints you get on your desk regarding issues of cybersecurity and privacy, there is fraud and then customer care issues. Okay, fraud may be easy to understand, but try to break it down for me. How does customer care or the lack of it lead to cybersecurity or privacy issues? Thank you.
Okay, a third question there, and then we can respond.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Aloysius Kasoma. I write for New Vision. My question goes to NITA Uganda. We are all aware that innovation and trends within this space is far ahead of our policy. I want to know to what extent NITA Uganda has engaged the government to achieving that, because artificial intelligence, cybersecurity has been around and it has just been evolving over and over again. So how far has NITA, the authority regulating the sector, have engaged the government to come up with a policy in this area? Thank you.
But comrade, NITA is government.
Yes, it is, but looks like because recently I was speaking to the deputy speaker at one of the still ICT conferences.
Yes.
They're like, we are going to sit and come up with a policy.
Okay.
I've had that quite a couple of months ago. I just want to know the progress.
They regulate. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
That's better. All right. We can respond to those three. I think we'll start with Mr. Kaketo. We can pass the microphone. You can answer the first one, Mr. Kaketo, and then you respond to the last one in terms of the tool, as in policy. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks. Can we have a working microphone? Those following online, Beda Kugad is the hashtag. Whenever you're tweeting, let's run by that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yes, the question from Mr. Adrian Bali. Yes, I mentioned that when it comes to personal data relating to people you care for, especially the children, because we know in Uganda, those below the age of 18 are treated as minors. Many of them are still actually children. So it's very critical that any personal data related to them is handled in the most safe ways. And actually, Section 8 of the Data Protection and Privacy Act stipulates that anyone collecting or processing personal data for children must add added layers of safety. And also, consent for children can only be given by those that have authority over them. And in most cases, it's the parents. So you as a parent, from your side, if every day you post very personal pictures of your children, what could happen 10 years from now, probably when they're 18? This same information may be used to make harm on these children. If you're a school and you publish the results of children, maybe from the UNEB exams, you put the child's name, their index number, their scores by subject. In one way or another, bad-hearted individuals may misuse this data and occasion harm to these children. That is why anyone handling personal data of children really has to put extra safeguards, because these are people that cannot decide for themselves, they can't consent for themselves, and yet you're making decisions relating to them. So the law is very clear when it comes to that. Everyone must ensure that the children are protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe Director can respond to the policy tool, the update in terms of regulation.
Okay, thank you very much. The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance is actually the one spearheading policy development in the area, and they have a PAC, it's a Fourth Industrial Revolution Subcommittee, where they are handling quite a number of policy areas. AI is one of them, including data sharing and all those things. I will pick an update from the ministry and share with you, or I can give you a contact for someone at the ministry.
Okay. Thank you. I suggest you get the director's contact because he's quite fast on WhatsApp. Henry, another question was yours there.
Yeah, thank you very much, and this is a very key question. Customer care versus cybersecurity or data protection. You very well know that any person doing customer care is the front line person of an institution, is the frontline soldier or personnel, the key to the institution. When we go in to any institution, even when we call online, we give in our details. Once a person does not respond to you, even if, let me just give an example. This campaign goes to all telecoms and you ask them, if you are advising, tell people to be on guard, and the customer care person rudely responds, then whatever information will be given by that person will not sync. So customer care is where a consumer wholeheartedly goes in with hope to get redress, to get support. But once the customer care is not good, the consumer, you yourselves, you fold back. You have already surrendered your information, and somebody, you end the call harshly, that very person will also end up throwing, this customer was also rude to me, trashes it in the waste paper basket, leaves it hanging. So customer care is a very key, and I liked both the director and when Paul and Mr. Mangin, when you were raising the issue, we need to have a culture of quality. When we have a culture of quality, we will handle everything with respect. If it is an institution, a customer care personnel will get to know this is information of our client. I have to handle it very well. I have to manage it in a particular manner. I will give you another, and I liked when you raised privacy by design. And I'm going to give you a very, I sit on, which I think Uganda needs to play a role, because there is a consumer policy committee at the ISO, International Standards Organization. We are looking at privacy by design. And one very good example with those of you who rent cars and you put in the PIN, when you take back the car, you erase. Others put phones on Bluetooth. You find over 20 telephone numbers that you logged in as you're driving. A good customer care will tell you on return of the car, may you please clean your data of the car. That is privacy by design. But most of the people, because we do not have good customer care in most of the cases, people just ditch our information and people use it. You find yourself, where am I? Who is calling me? But it is the car you rented before. You are driving for 6 hours, you're in traffic jam. You don't want a traffic officer to see you speak on phone. You do your Bluetooth. So these are quite challenging. I hope I've linked it well for you. Just imagine you go to New Vision, you go to Monitor, you go to anywhere, and you leave your information there. One says, this guy was rude.
Yeah, you just discard it off.
So it is very, very key. And I would like to conclude that by saying, and I liked what you raised, that I always tell people, the person who stopped learning stopped breathing. Even at the 9th hour, the death hour, you keep on learning.
So help me God. All right. Do we have another cluster of questions, please? Okay, we have one there, we have one there. I just need 3 so that we can wrap this up in the interest of time. Can we have the microphone roam to the 2 there, please? And while we are having this conversation, friends, just remind you, those of you who have not changed and checked your passwords in the last quarter, in the last 1 month, you are not on guard. Someone has your data, someone knows where you are, someone knows quite a lot more that you don't know. Yes, brother.
Thank you very much. My name is Aguta Philip. I work with the UBC. My question goes to the ED, probably of NITAU. I would like to know in all these if they involve the network providers like MTN and Airtel, because I thought maybe with the introduction of national IDs, such instances of calling people at random would not happen, because I believe all the telecom lines are registered in names whereby it can easily be traced. Of recent, I had a colleague who was almost killed in Busoga because he was conned from Kampala here to go for a certain kind of job, but at the end, they used about 3 numbers. And after the mission was aborted, all those numbers could not go through. But I thought maybe if the telecom networks were really fighting crime, such instances will not be happening today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, you can hear the brother is really, really serious about this. And Director, I think you're going to respond to that. Let's hear from the lady.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joan from UBC TV. My question goes to Madame Geraldine. What incident response plan does NITAU have in place, especially in case of passive cyber attacks? Thank you.
All right, so I will request the Director to respond to the very first question, and then I'll come back to Geraldine. Can we have the mic to the Director, please? The lady from UBC, kindly pass the mic to the Director. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, Philip, for that question. Yes, the ISPs are involved in all the campaigns that we run. And if you notice and observe, over time there's been a reduction or a shift in tactics and strategies that are used by the people that are perpetrating crime. It's very difficult for an ISP to detect that the person that has called you is trying to con you. It's difficult, but there are redresses. Whenever you raise those complaints to them, they block numbers. So they actually are on the lookout. You help them, tell them that there's this number that is fraudulent in terms of the transactions, so they could block it. But again, also it goes back to what we've been raising, awareness. Being vigilant and not over-trusting. So question as much as possible. Everything, question, question, question. And the most important, if you can't sufficiently be able to question and get to the bottom of things, consult. Someone is calling you, telling you some things that you don't fully understand, consult. You could actually find that the savior is someone nearby that has experienced that or heard about something similar and will help you. But to answer the question straight, the telcos are involved and they're helping out.
Thank you so much, Director. Geraldine.
Thank you, John, for your question. So under NITA, we have the National Computer Emergency Response Team. So it's responsible to, in terms of responding to any cyber incidents we have as a country. So in that we have a structure of who we need to talk to. We actually have on our website, it's sat.ug, where you can report an incident. So behind the scenes, there is a whole team, different incident analysts, security analysts, who are able to, once that incident is reported, they are able to now go down and first do in terms of identify what do they need to prepare, who do they need to reach out to in terms of how massive that incident is going to affect maybe a specific sector. So within the National Computer Emergency Response, we do all that. But then also currently under the World Bank funded project, we do have a project that's going to look at the governance structure for that. So we are going to have, so that you can also, in case the incident is really, really big, we have the president in the know. So it's going to be structured that the president knows who, in terms of sectors, who needs to be contacted first, what do they need to do, if it needs to be police, what do they need to do. So in terms of structure of what needs for each, in terms of responsibilities, what they need to do, that's going to be within that project as well.
All right, finally, Tumsime, with all this going on, with all these bars of cyber attacks back and forth, how are we keeping up with this game as Ugandans? And what are you doing to help us not to play catch up, but to stay on the wavelength at which the world is roaming?
Thank you for that question, Andrew. So I think this is also picked from there's a question that came in, I think, from one of the journalists around innovation and how we are keeping up. with all these different technologies coming up, AI. So as NITA or as government, we have developed what we call the National Information Security Framework. This particular framework is basically a guiding standard, and it follows international standards. So we currently, under the UDAP project, we're actually updating it to basically match the growing trends and the changes in technologies. So this, whereas we are coming up with all these different interventions and what, it establishes controls that we can put in place. For instance, if we do not have an AI policy in place, what controls can we put within the entities that at least make sure we limit our exposure to these particular cybersecurity threats? And key to note is that we follow international standards. So we are not behind as Uganda. We're actually moving at the pace of, if you go back before COVID, I think Uganda, in terms of our cybersecurity index, we were, I think, 7th or something.
Among the top 5.
Well, the top 5 in the world. We had actually moved because we have I think about 13 cybersecurity regulations in place. We have this awareness campaign. Just running this awareness campaign puts us up there. So we are not playing catch up. We're actually putting controls that can actually help us advance with the technologies. The controls help you match the technologies. You put controls, so before you engage in any new aspect as you do research and development, at least you put controls that safeguard our infrastructure and our services. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to my panelists. Let's clap for them. When we're clapping, we don't go in karma. But data wo wachama, better ko God, it's the campaign, and that's the hashtag. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell your relatives, people you love and care about. Kindly tell them about being on the guard. One thing that is very clear, even when you delete anything, they can find it. So be quite aware what you actually put on your phone. Henry, you have a burning one?
I just wanted, and it's good that Mr. Sim raised the issues of consumer rights. But the consumer responsibilities are something that we all need to ground and put in as our daily guide. I would ask to give you the first consumer responsibility, being critically aware. That's responsibility number 1. Be critically aware of every action you do. Consumer responsibility number 2, take action. If you are critically aware and you take action, that safeguards a lot. And where the question from the journalist about parents' responsibility, the consumer responsibility number 3, social concern. Have that consciousness of concern. If it affects your neighbor, it will affect you. Then the last one is about solidarity. The fourth is about environmental awareness, but the fifth one is solidarity. You need to be in solidarity to safeguard ourselves as consumers. We're the biggest socio-economic grouping. When we fail or when we are hurt, the economy is hurt. It's not business that is hurt. It is when the consumers are hurt, when consumers are complacent, the country doesn't grow. So colleagues, a lot of emphasis, let us be critically aware. And I would like to thank colleagues for this partnership. Partnerships do deliver. And once they deliver, the consistency is going to turn us around to be a nation that is in the fourth revolution of digital, cyber and everything, of Internet of Things, when we are alert. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Henry. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just a few minutes to wrap this up. I'm going to request the director to come and take a group photo with the panelists here. And thereafter, we shall have another group picture with the all NITA U team with the logo. Can I have the logo displayed at the back? This is Beta Kugad. And let me request the director to come, please. Let's have the director either sit where Mr. Tumasime was, so that we can have this. Can I have the logo displayed on the screen, please? So the rest of us, we smile for them that they can mirror that. Thank you. You're so kind. Now let me request the entire team of the NITA U team to come and have a photo moment. NITA U team, please come. Please come. Come and have a photo moment with the director. NITA U team, these guys are cyber. Please move. NITA U team, please come. Others can be down. I request the director to be a little closer, and the rest can actually flank you on the different sides. There is even space down. You should do that. We are balancing by height. He's looking for his height. Director, please allow me to hold you there a bit again. Now that we have this at the back, let me request the panelists to come back that we can have a group photo when you're standing with this. The panelists, please, Geraldine, Henry, and Mr. Tumasime. This is better background. You're just going to stand and then we shall take that. Let's smile that they can smile back. See? That's the power of a smile. Thank you so much. Let's clap for them, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, our dear panelists. Now that we're wrapping this up, just to give some, thank you so much, Director. As we're finalizing this, for clarity, the fourth estate, we're going to have the interviews right here. With the director, as well as Mr. Henry will be speaking both in Luganda and in English as soon as we wrap up. Interviews are going to be here. But to wrap this entire conversation, let me request that we welcome Mr. Edmond Machelli, the project coordinator for Uganda Digital Acceleration Project, to come and give us closing remarks in the next few minutes. Let's welcome him.
Good morning. I'm delighted to be here to participate in this important event dubbed Vera Kugad. Is it Vera or Bera? Or depends on where you come from. Yeah, so I'm happy that we've been able to reach this milestone in terms of this particular project. Maybe just to introduce myself, Edmond Machelli. I'm the project coordinator for the Uganda Digital Acceleration Project. And this intervention that we are witnessing today is one of many other activities that are being implemented by NITA Uganda together with our important stakeholders. That's the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance and a host of other institutions that we are walking this journey to to digitize our country. When I walked in, and apologies for coming late today, I found the conversation leaning more on data sharing of our children on social media. And incidentally, this morning, I just posted a picture of my boys starting school. And, with a tagline there, God bless them, wish them well, and so on. So when I walked in and heard that, I was like, touche. It hit me like a ton of bricks. But I think, given that we're in a digital age, we in an age where data sharing is sort of webbed into our lifestyle, and so it's very hard to draw the line between between sharing and not sharing. So the question is, what is that safe sweet spot where we can responsibly share data that meets our needs, but at the same time protects those individuals whose data we are sharing. So in a responsible way, in a safe way, that does not prevent us from living a free life. Because otherwise, we'll not be able to share anything, then we'll appear to be fearful about everything and anything. So I think our task and our challenge, even as we roll out the campaign, is to enlighten, to create awareness, which is the main purpose of this, but also improve on our lifestyle, or improve on our knowledge and our ability to be able to share responsibly across, mindful of the law and what it says, but also empowering those who share, process, and manage data across the different socials and also different platforms. So I'm particularly happy that we are engaging and have the media fraternity here. They're very distinguished. We do appreciate you, and we are happy that we can engage with you on this. And I believe this is just the beginning of a journey where we will work together to further anchor and embed this in our fabric as a country. I also noticed when I walked in, the registration is still manual. Yeah. So if you're sharing your name, your email address, your phone number, and location, so we need to improve. So maybe the next step is, which tools can we use? If we had a QR code, as we have in other forums, where you can at least be able to scan, and then privately you can be able to disclose certain data. And then that is used, that this is data being collected by particular people, and it will be used for a particular purpose. So I think as we engage with the media, yes, you are present in many, if not all, meaningful engagements. I think you should work together and partner with us as watchmen and watchwomen in these different forums. So if you find that there is any event that is happening where data is being openly displayed, I think you should then be able to say, oh, where's NITA in this sort of engagement? I think it would be helpful as we roll out and build this culture of responsible data sharing. I also want to thank all of us for making time to be here, and also for the various speakers. Maybe a hand for all of them who made the presentations, the panelists who are part of this discussion. Because even though this is a new initiative in terms of strengthening cybersecurity in data sharing, I think it's important that we walk this journey together. Even after this, there are going to be other initiatives that we'll still call the media to be part of. But I think it's a very important undertaking, and we will support it, especially the rollout phase, because we have now that journey to run after we've completed the development of this campaign and its strategy and so on. Lastly, I want us just to echo out verbally the slogan so that it stays in us. And I'm going to request that we do that about 5 times. I don't know, scientifically, the psychologists are here. How many times do you say something for it to anchor in your mind? 5 times. Ah, perfect. Thank you, sir. So I want us to go 5 times and we'll just say Vera Kugad. Okay, online and offline, right? Okay, good. 1. Online and offline. 2. Online and offline. 3. Online and offline. 4. Online and offline. And 5th? Online and offline. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 4 minutes past 11 a.m. We apologize for running late by 4 minutes. Those who came when we are done with breakfast, Vera Kugad, online and offline. So thank you again for coming. Please follow Nita U on the different digital platforms, on Twitter, on X, and LinkedIn, Quarters, and beyond. And for the Fourth Estate, who are going to have the interviews are going to be done from here. But I want to request production for one favor. Can I have the backdrop of Vera Kugad? And I'm going to request again, director, you're going to come and stand up here for this one photo that we missed when we were launching. The interviews are going to start now. Mr. Henry, as well as the director, will be speaking in Luganda here to give us this, the depth of this. Geraldine as well, for purposes of balancing the gender appearances on media, Geraldine will equally be here to speak to us as well as the Fourth Estate. Turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor, Vera Kugad. Until next time. Good morning.